Shut up and sit down.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another replay analysis here by Mr. Cannon. I myself am Mr. Cannon, aka the semi-original guy, and we have a match here on a map called 1 vs 1 Marengo. My opponent here is Cynical Boy. Now, we've met twice in League so far, and both of the times I thought they were very entertaining matches. So this one happens to be a very long one, so we're going to get right into it here in just a moment. But first, we're going to go over the player profiles. So up first here, we have Mr. Cannon. So as you can see, I have 194 wins, 164 losses, and 10 draws. Currently ranked 256 in the league. Now, I'm not the best player out there, obviously, but I'm also not the worst. Now, my maximum rating ever achieved so far was 1077.4. Currently, I'm sitting at 1005.34. Next up, we have Cynical Boy. As you can see, Cynical Boy here has an official rating at the moment of 1038.03. He has 49 wins, 35 losses, and 3 draws. His maximum rating ever achieved was 1101.82. So very respectable rating. Now, as we can see here, we are playing on a map called 1 vs 1 Marengo. This is a very interesting map as it has 3 bases on either side and an airport. We have comm towers in the center of the map, as well as HQs on the top and bottom. Now, let's go over the COs that have been chosen for this battle. Now, I myself am playing as Hawke. Hawke gets plus 10% attack for all his units across the board, which is a fantastic day-to-day ability. Now, his superpower and power, Black Wave, causes 1 damage globally to all units across the map and heals your own units for 1 HP. Black Storm does the exact same, except it's 2 damage for each unit and you heal 2 HP. Wonderful superpower. The only drawback is it takes a little while to charge, being as it is a 9-star power. Now, Von Bolt, on the other hand, gets plus 10% attack and defense across the board. Now, defense is incredibly powerful in Advanced Wars. It is actually probably safe to say that defense may actually be more important than offense. Now, Von Bolt's superpower, Ex Machina, actually costs a total of 10 stars. It does an area effect missile damage, causing 3 HP of damage to anything that it hits, and it also stuns all those units for that turn, meaning your opponent cannot move those units the next turn. So it can be incredibly devastating if you do not prepare for the attack. Now that we have gone over the COs, let's go ahead and get right into the match here. Okay, so on day 1, we see just standard infantry builds from both sides. Cynical Boy decides to move his infantry down to capture a neutral city close to his base. I am also moving my infantry into position to capture a few other neutral bases, but I'm also sending one of my infantry up north to actually capture the base, which Cynical Boy is now doing on his side also. Day 3 rolls around, I move 2 of my infantry into position to actually capture the neutral base and the airport. Cynical Boy does the exact same movement. However, he does have the extra infantry at this point, so he is moving that towards the center of the map at the moment, hopefully to start putting pressure and capturing cities in the middle. Alright, and we see some more standard infantry. Not really anything too out of the ordinary at this point. We do see Cynical Boys moving back to capture his back property, as well as so am I. So, let's continue on here. I actually move north to capture one of the neutral properties near the center. Build 2 more infantry. So, at the moment, the only difference in the attacks right now is Cynical Boy has actually chosen to build a tank, and he is sending that up north, Also, these two infantry right here were in a prime position to actually capture both of these cities at the same time, so that's very good positioning right there. Cynical Boy decides to build a recon on day 5 there, and we are now going into day 6, and I am moving my infantry into position over to the east-hand side to hopefully start capturing some properties over there. I decide to build a tank and an artillery this turn. So yeah, just more standard infantry movements going along, capturing some properties. We have Cynical Boy moving his tank over by his HQ. Start putting pressure on this area over here, which is very nice. Now, considering the layout of this map, since you have 2 bases here and 2 bases here, this side and this side down here are most likely to be your strong fronts. So you want to definitely reinforce that a little bit. Alright, so yeah, we just have more standard movements going on here, so we're just going to skip ahead a little bit. Now, this was a mistake here. Unfortunately, I accidentally misclicked and hit a battlecopter instead of a transport copter. Terrible movement by me, unfortunately, but I try my best to roll with it. Now, this is a terrible move because you never really want to base skip if you can prevent it. So yeah, don't do what I did, folks. Alright. So Cynical Boy moving in with a lot more of his units. We're just going to kind of really speed up the process here. He decides to build a tank and 2 infantry this turn. He's moved his tank down into this position here on the city. Moved this other tank onto the road. Not sure where that is going yet, but we are going to find out soon here. Alright, so day 8 rolls around. I begin capturing on a few more cities, moving my units into position to start a few more caps, move my tank up into the forest. And now my very shameful battlecopter is moving north. Shame. Alright. Yeah, we got more infantry being moved. These 2 cities are now being captured. This tank is in position in this forest to gain some vision and be hidden from the opponents here, which is fantastic. Going down to capture the comm tower, backing it up with the tank as defense. Alright, and this is a double artillery build turn. As we can see here, 2 artilleries are now in play. We have 3 properties being capped up here, which is super important. Considering that this is your strong front over here, it's important to have these properties on the front line so that you can put your units on them and they can get healed right on the front line rather than have to bring them back. Alright, so I move some of my units into position to try to capture the comm tower, and I take the first engagement up there. Battlecopter onto infantry on the city, take it down to 5 HP. He's not going to be getting that city at the moment. And I move my tank up into the forest over here. Move a couple more of my infantry into position. Alright, day 9 rolls around. So we can see Cynical Boy has captured 2 properties and a comm tower. Moved his tank down to sit firmly on my comm tower and prevent that cap. He was able to do so because he had vision with his recon there. So as you can see, recons in Fog of War, incredibly viable. Vision is super important. You always want to have some recons. Now, I know my opponent here has actually played Fog of War quite a bit. I believe that in Fog of War, at least, he is actually ranked fairly high on the list there. So he's not... I shouldn't say he's not. He's very prepared for Fog of War. So as you can see, we got 2 attacks on the infantries down there. Another tank is moving down to the city. Some more properties are being captured. Lots of movements happening with the infantries over here to get into nice positions where they can sit on mountains. This infantry is already planted on a mountain, so he's got a lot of vision down here. And yeah, we can see a lot more units are moving in here. Alright, so day 10 rolls around. And I decide to finish off that infantry. Start moving my infantry up north to capture a city. We have a tank moving in, hidden into a forest over here. Infantry capturing another city. Trying my best to block off that infantry. put my infantry on a mountain. So now I have some vision up here, which is fantastic considering I have no recons. And I move my artillery into position right here in the forest so that it can't be seen. So not a bad move there. Now, one big mistake that I made this turn is I left this tank right here in the forest. Now, you're going to see in a minute why that is a bad idea, because this infantry is actually in range of this forest, and he's got a lot of tanks here to back it up. So what should have happened is this tank probably should have came back to the back lines, or at least out of the range of these tanks here. Planting it on this city here probably would have been the best bet. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. You're going to see right now why that was a terrible move. So we have infantry moving in. Okay, so this is an interesting play right here. He decided to move his infantry up here first, whereas probably the best move here would have been to take his infantry and move it onto the mountain first so that you could have vision. If he had done that, he would have seen that I had an infantry here and be able to first strike it, which would have definitely crippled any advantage I would have had up here, for the capture game at least. He did manage to take a shot at my infantry down south, and this is where the trap comes in. So this infantry has now discovered this tank in the forest, leaving it wide open to attack from 2 tanks. And we can see here that yes, those 2 tanks have definitely taken advantage and have taken out that tank hidden in the forest. The only saving grace here is that now this tank is in position to get hit by this artillery, but it does let him move his 3rd tank into position to take a shot at my infantry on the city, which he follows up with a recon. So now he's got a very strong line here. 3 tanks, a recon, and an infantry on a mountain for extra vision and to possibly reinforce. Alright, we're just going to skip over those movements. So we can see he now has an anti-air in play and a battlecopter as well. Alright, so I move my infantry. I move my battlecopter up to take a shot at the infantry in the north, and I follow up with a 2nd attack, taking it out. I end up capturing a city, and I'm trying to move into the comm tower. Hopefully I'll be able to get it this turn, but we will see. I take 2 shots against the 2 tanks here, taking them both down to 4 HP. Unfortunately, I did get counterattacked by 1 HP here, but he is on the city, so it would not really be advantage or an advantageous attack to go for that guy at the moment. Okay, so I move my other tank into position. I'm going to try to reinforce the middle with these 3 units here. Since I don't really see much up here going on at the moment, I feel like he has funneled most of his units into the center at this point. That is at least my thought process. I decided to build 2 more tanks and infantry this turn. And alright, so let's see what happens on day 11 here. So he moves 2 more infantry over to take a look at what just happened. He notices that I still have the battlecopter up there and I still have the infantry over here, although he is moving his anti-air unit into position to do some damage pretty soon. And we can see that my 2 HP infantry has been taken out, and my infantry has done a disappearing act right here. Houdini up in the house, he's gone. We have no idea where he's went. And double Houdini, another infantry has just disappeared. Although we can see that this one has taken an attack. So yeah, the replay function is a little bit wonky at times, but, you know, we bear with it. We can see a 7 HP infantry going down to capture this bottom corner. And more infantry moving in. So the tanks have decided to disperse and split into 2 groups. 4 HP tank has gone down here. The 8 HP and 4 HP tank have gone up north, being guarded by the artillery unit right there, which is pretty good, pretty good. All right, so let's see what happens next here. Bomb! Medium tank has entered the fray. And Mr. Cannon has no idea since it is Fog of War, unfortunately for him. So, we have a battlecopter taking another shot at infantry. Now, this is where we can see that that defense is really taking a lot of effect here. Most of these engagements are not very favorable for me, unfortunately. I don't seem to be doing too much damage. But I do manage to capture a couple properties, so I go in for this attack on the tank here. So, not quite sure why I did that. I think I was just trying to clean it up. But I do want to go in for a second attack on this other tank here. So I decided to go in, attack the recon. And I hit the other tank from the plains, where I have more defense. Okay, so yeah, we can see that a lot more units are moving into the south there, starting to form a nice defensive wall. And I built 2 tanks and a recon this turn, because I finally decided that, hey, you know, I need some vision over here. I can't see anything, so gotta get that vision going. Alright, yeah, so we can see a couple engagements going on down there in the south. Infantry being taken out. One of my tanks had been wiped off the face of the earth, unfortunately. Yeah, so this is actually an interesting play here. This our anti-air unit, he could have actually went over here to threaten the battlecopter, but he decides to move down here to take a shot at the city right here, which is actually kind of good. Unfortunately, it leaves his anti-air open to attack. However, it does make it so the battlecopter is unable to move in any of these directions. He's pretty much forced to stay in that corner. So I think that might have been his thought process with that as well. So yeah, we got some more infantry moving in. Another engagement down here in the south. Alright, day 13, Mr. Cannon comes in. And we can see an engagement happened against that anti-air unit up north. So typically, anti-air units, if you're playing the Fog of War, I would try to keep them in the back lines if possible. You don't really want to let your opponents know that you have an anti-air. That way they push up with their battlecopters. And then you just have a ample opportunity to actually counterattack them, which is fantastic. Unless you're playing as me, or playing against me, I might just send my units up to get slaughtered. Okay, so yeah, we can see a few more engagements happening there. Start forming a little defensive line in the south over here. Battlecopter moving in to take out that infantry up there, because now I know it's safe because there is no anti-air unit. Alright, so at this point, I discovered that there is an artillery unit. Now, I probably should have actually known there was an artillery unit because I took some range damage over here. And I probably should have known that. So this battlecopter move right here is a terrible move. Because at this point, I know that I haven't really taken out too much, and he's bound to have some sort of support back here. This battlecopter should have definitely stayed in the back lines here, waiting for a moment to first strike something a lot more valuable. But unfortunately, it decided to first strike a little penguin soldier. So that didn't work out too well. I do decide to continue a cap on the comm tower there with my 4 HP infantry. Not really expecting to get it at this point, but I am giving it a try. I decided to go triple tank this match. Now, triple tank is probably... I wouldn't necessarily say it's a big mistake, but at this point in the map, I can see that we have 20,000 funds. I'm assuming my opponent probably has around 20,000 funds as well. He ends up having around 19,000 right now. But what probably should have happened here was I should have reinforced with a medium tank over here or over here and start putting some pretty heavy pressure on. Alright, so the artillery unit has blasted the infantry on the city. And the other artillery unit has blasted my tank. And my other infantry is down to 1 HP. And this is where a devastating move happened, where I ended up losing the battlecopter to a 2-pronged attack from his battlecopter and an infantry. So right there, down 9,000 funds. Well, actually, more than 9,000 funds, almost 16,000 funds from losing the tank as well. So, don't do what I did there. Definitely when you're playing Fog of War, probably the best approach is a slow approach. Alright, so day 14 rolls around. We're going to see what I can do to counter this. I have a tank moving in to attack a recon. Follow up the attack with an infantry to take that out. Do a two-pronged attack against his infantry. And unfortunately, I don't manage to take it out. Once again, that's where the defense bonus really comes in. If this was a normal CO, like let's say Andy or something, where it doesn't have 110 defense, that infantry would have been gone. But since it's Von Bolt, not happening, unfortunately. Alright, so my recon moves in to take a shot at this infantry. Now, I think what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to take out this infantry because I know he's got this artillery unit here. And I really want to do something about that. So I'm just trying to clean up the area. Or maybe what I was trying to do was I was trying to take care of his vision. Not sure. But either way, I know that he has a very strong front right here. So pushing up like this is very risky. And I probably would not recommend it in future games. Alright. So I go double artillery and an anti-air unit this round. So we can see that my south front is pretty strong at the moment. He doesn't really have too much to defend against it. However, he's got a medium tank up here and a few units over here. Now, we're going to see what happens on this turn. Ooh, double attack going up there. Comm tower denied once again. Infantry taken out. Moves his other infantry to get vision. Moves the MD tank in to take a shot at that recon, I believe. Yeah. Battlecopter moving in, taking a shot. The south front is holding up quite nicely at this moment. And the north front is just getting reinforced. So he decides to build a transport copter on this turn, which actually plays a vital role later on. However, now I have Black Storm ready, and I decide to pop it. Black Storm, 2 HP globally, healing 2 HP to all my units. The great equalizer. Alright, so I take out 1 infantry there, take out a 3 HP infantry, move down, take out that 1 HP infantry, moving my helicopter up to take out his helicopter. I don't know that he has another anti-air unit here, so I felt like that was a safe movement to do. Moved one of my tanks back in the south to sit there in the forest, and I decided to move this guy up to take a shot at this guy. Now, let's look at that again. Alright, so yeah, so I move here and take the shot here. What would have been a lot better is if I actually took the shot from the road at this point, because you can see here this medium tank is actually in range to take a shot at this anything that goes here. So what should have happened was this guy should have actually stayed up here, take a shot over here. Would have been much, much better. Alright, we got double shots down south. Another infantry being attacked. I finally discover that he's got a artillery unit there. Move my 4 HP tank around to take a shot. And now I have pretty much cleaned up the south. But I know that Ex Machina is coming, so I move a couple of my units in the center in order to hopefully draw its attention away. Build my medium tank and 2 infantry. And then this turn we have the Ex Machina coming in. And you don't actually see, but it has hit this area in the center. And we have another battlecopter being lost there. We have this infantry moves in to get vision and then gets struck by this artillery unit right there. And this medium tank just rolls right in to take a shot at my tank. Now, he was able to do so because he actually has vision with this infantry that is sitting firmly on the mountains up here. Yeah, so he has vision with this guy here, vision with this guy here. So he's actually able to see the full line moving in there. So he was able to go ahead and do that with no repercussions at all. He decides to join Cap up north to make sure that he gets this city right here. And yeah, we can see a couple more of his units moving into position up here. So at this point, it's kind of interesting because I'm actually ahead in units and unit value at the moment. Now, unfortunately, what actually did happen is since I got hit in this little center area here, is I actually lost the use of all those units. So despite me having more units than him, this turn, not able to do anything with those units. So, yeah, let's go ahead and keep moving with the match here. So yeah, we see that some attacks have been taken there. This cap has been denied. 3 HP tank moving in to take a shot at the infantry. And I decided since this wall is pretty much frozen in time at the moment, that I'm just going to start to reinforce that line. So I'm thinking, you know, next turn I can push in with a little death ball here. So Cynical Boy up on day 16 moving in. Actually takes another shot at my tank here because he's able to see it with this infantry. And takes it out with the anti-air units. Now he begins capturing on one of my properties. And we have an engagement down south with that infantry. So yeah, some good movements over here, moving it into position to reinforce. Now we can see I have a strong front right here. He has a strong front right here. So we're going to see what happens with that here. Okay, so I decide to finish off that infantry down south, moving my medium tank up north into the city. Very sneaky, very hidden. Alright, so that south line is moving down into position to reinforce. Got a lot of artillery down here too now, so if he actually decides to move in to take some shots at these infantry taking them out, he is going to get counterattacked pretty heavily by all those artillery units. So day 17. He now has a battlecopter moving south that is taking a shot at my infantry. And we can see that transport unit is really doing some good work up there. Transporting infantries up to the front line. So this is smart right here. So Cynical Boy knows that he has a pretty strong front right here. And he's also got this injured medium tank. So instead of needlessly pushing, you know, with those greedy attacks, he decides to pull back and hold the line a little bit. He does try to move in to block this infantry with the anti-air unit, just to try to secure his cap right there. And he decides to build a Neo tank this turn. So this is a really good move right here. So he's moved this infantry into position to cap that city. And he's got these 2 blockers right here. So if I'm going to go up to try to interrupt this cap, I have to take out these 2 blockers. And then I need a 3rd unit to actually attack that. And we can see the unit choices here. So a tank and our anti-air. The only things that I really have here are a battlecopter, my medium tank, and this anti-air unit. So if I was to go and do that, I would get counterattacked very heavily by all these units and the battlecopter that's in position up there also. Alright. So I begin capping on 2 of his cities. And I move my battlecopter in to try to get some vision. Now, this is a habit that I really have to stop doing in Fog of War, is just sending my battlecopters up to the front line to get slaughtered. Not a good move. I need to slowly push and try to get some real value out of those units. So I do realize that this is pretty much lost up here, so I try to push over here and take some shots at these guys. But unfortunately, he's just got a little bit too much reinforcement here, and you're going to see next turn why that does not work out for me too well. Alright, so day 18 rolls around. Yeah, so lose the cap on his con tower. And we can see that I've lost both of those caps that I tried to do on those cities down there. Alright, so this is a devastating attack right here. I end up losing a battlecopter. End up losing the medium tank. End up losing one of my tanks. And end up losing an anti-air unit. So that entire front that I had up there just got taken out because of my greedy attack that I attempted to do. Now, when you're faced with something like that, it's probably better just to huddle up, wait till you have some more units, and wait until you have a good moment to attack. You can see once again that transport copter really doing a lot of work with boosting some units up there. Alright, so day 19. Moving in with my tank, taking out that anti-air unit. Now, I actually safely attack it with the second battlecopter, because I know I'm going to 100% take it out, so I felt like it was a very safe move at that point. Alright, so down south we can see that those artillery units are doing some work on his infantry, taking those guys out. Yeah, so I do a little bit of reinforcement on the north-hand side, and go in and start cleaning up pretty much his entire army down south. Alright, so we can see down south, basically at this point, I've won that match. He doesn't really have anything over here. And up north, he does have quite a bit of presence, but I still have some units up here. So at this point, I feel like this is probably looking a little bit better for me. Yeah, we can see he's also down to 24 units. However, the second turn, usually they have a little bit less units at that point. Alright, triple infantry moving in, tanks moving down, take a shot at my tank. Once again, my battlecopter gets struck, and I end up losing my tank. He ends up trying to capture one of my cities over here, moving another transport copter down south. Built a second transport copter actually this turn, which is super interesting. So he now has 2 transport copters, so he's able to funnel infantry up here and down here at the same time. So Neo-Tank moving into position in the center. So this is actually a good move. So he's not actually choosing a side for this Neo-Tank at the moment. He is putting it into a position where it can go either way. So if it's needed over here, it can go over here. If it's needed down south, it would be able to go down south. And he ends his turn on day 20. So I see that he has a recon unit there, so I'm attempting to get rid of it so that it cripples his vision. He's also got this infantry up here, which could move easily onto one of these mountains and gain vision. So I want to get rid of that. Now, I don't know if he has this infantry right here, unfortunately. Now, if he didn't have that infantry, he wouldn't have been able to see anything that was going on down here. So I do notice that he has another infantry. So instead of attacking, now I'm starting to play a little bit defensively down here. So I just start building up a wall. And I managed to get Blackstorm halfway through the turn. So at this point I decide to pop it. Because I feel like, this is probably the moment. Get my units some healing. And I can cripple hopefully any reinforcements that he's got coming towards me. And maybe even be able to sap some of his funds at the same time with repairs. Alright, so we can see the 3 HP anti-air is going up to take a shot at my infantry up north here. So this is probably a pretty good move, because this anti-air doesn't really have any other use in the front lines at the moment. So you might as well get a shot at this infantry, hopefully manage to do some damage to take it out. So you can see here it's followed up with an attack from this infantry up north as well. And he decides to join these 2 units together. 2 HP infantry on his own, not really going to do much. So he decides to join it, gains a little bit of funds. Now the interesting thing is when you have... Oh, you know what? Hold on. Yeah, okay, so... he just joins them so it's a full HP infantry. Now I was going to say that if you actually join 2 units and your value goes over 10 for hit points, you gain that much back for funds as well. So if you have like an infantry that is sitting at 2 HP and you join it with a fresh infantry, you actually gain 200 funds from that. So it's actually an interesting little trick that you can do in case you need to possibly like emergency buy something, you know, like a fighter to counter a stealth fighter or something like that, right? So always a good move. So like I said with this infantry in the forest here, it actually managed to move onto the mountain. Now it has vision down here, and I'm like, gosh darn it. So yeah, that ended up making it so the Neo tank could move in and take out my tank that was sitting on a road, just one shot, easy peasy. Alright, so yeah, got some more units moving in here. Excuse me. Alright, so he's discovered that I have a tank in this forest. Usually when I'm playing this map, I usually like to funnel my units up over here, so that I always get a unit right there in that forest, so it's hidden. But it's good for first strikes, you know? Alright, so we got that battle copter moving into the south, takes a shot at my other tank. Yeah, so we can see here that, like, you know, I thought that this line was very safe, but because this one infantry was just sitting there, I managed to get vision, and it just did not work out for me. Alright, yeah, we can see some final engagements happening there. So we can see this tank right here too that he built at the beginning. It's now been hit by 2 Black Storms without being repaired. So it's just sitting there at 6 HP at the moment. Now I am trying to play a little bit cautious at this moment because I know there's another Ex Machina coming up. Alright, so yeah, this is where I pulled most of my units back to try to get hit by the Ex Machina. So I don't really want anything... Excuse me. Anything on the front lines to really get hit by that. I think what I'm thinking actually is I don't want up here to get hit by the Ex Machina. Like, I don't really care if it gets hit over here or maybe even down here, and you know, it is what it is, right? But this is where a lot of the big fighting is going on. So I really don't want to get pushed past these 2 cities. Because I feel like this front, you can defend it as long as you have this line right here. But if you get pushed past this line, that's pretty much about it. There's not really too much coming back from that at that point. So, yeah, I got 2 medium tanks in the fray now too. So we're going to see what happens with this turn. Alright, so he begins capturing on my city up north. We got a recon moving down for vision. Infantry taken out. That transport copter once again putting in work, funneling infantry to the front lines. We got an artillery taking a shot at my tank. Now he's got the Ex Machina ready. Is he going to pop it? We're going to find out pretty soon here. The suspense. He actually ends up not popping it this turn, which is probably actually a good move on his point. So, by not popping the Ex Machina, he actually made it so I have to waste 2 turns positioning my units to get hit by it. So, by actually just holding it, it's given him a power position where he can just like push my guys back to wherever he wants. But I know that I can't wait around forever for the Ex Machina, so I do decide to go up and start attacking. Taking out a couple tanks here, taking out that anti-air unit. So now my battlecopters finally have some free reign up there. Started to go in to try to capture the comm tower one more time. I'm thinking that maybe he doesn't have the vision this time, but recon right there, always watching you. Alrighty, so yeah, I go and start capturing his comm tower as well too, because I want him to waste some time taking out this infantry rather than moving forward as well. Alright, so let's just skip a lot of these movements, and nothing really happens with those movements. Yeah, he finishes the cap and then he pops Ex Machina. It actually hits up here where I was hoping it wasn't gonna hit, but it did. Terrible day for Mr. Cannon up here on day 22. Alright, so yeah, we can see the aftermath of that attack. It just makes it so his units are just able to move in freely without any repercussions, up north at least. Yeah, we can see the Neo tank moving in to take out the MD tank. And a lot more of his units just pushing in. So we can also see we got a nice little battlecopter chain coming in also. So that's going to be doing some damage here pretty soon. So I do my best to try to recover after that. I end up taking out a few units. Take a shot at that tank, or the Neo tank with my helicopter. Now, this is probably actually another mistake here. This helicopter probably would have been a lot better just attacking this helicopter rather than attacking the Neo tank. Because I think my thought process was I'd be able to go in and counter or attack it again from this side with the MD tank, but I didn't account for this forest. So yeah, that happened. So what I could have done is maybe move the... No, I don't know. It just didn't work out. So make sure to count your tiles before you make any moves as well. So I could have come in from this side and attacked it from the road, but I felt like it just wasn't good. I think I checked the damage calculator on it, and it just was like terrible, right? I think I was going to get counterattacked by like 60 or like 70%, so it just wasn't really worth it. Especially at this point, because he gains 10% defense from the superpower. So, I mean, this guy's basically the equivalent to sitting on a city at this point. So, yeah, just not really worth it. Alright, so skipping ahead. Okay, battlecopter rolls in, takes out my battlecopter. He moves another infantry onto the mountain to gain more vision. Neo tank coming in to take out my tank. Just shots all over the place, you know? Can't give me the comm tower either. It's like, just give me the comm tower, man. But you know, what can you do, right? I mean, if it was me in his position, I wouldn't want to give him the comm tower either. So another one of my huge mistakes for this is really getting fixated on that comm tower. Like, just leave it alone all day. You know, all these units down here could have been pushing this side, capturing these cities, could have been pushing like north, trying to capture these cities, but instead I'm going for that comm tower. It's just like, it's not worth it. At that point, like, you really got to figure out where your line of attack is going and kind of stick to it, right? You can also see this turn he's built a fighter. Now, fighter is mostly just to counter the battlecopter spam that I got going on. Because at this point, battlecopters are really the only thing that I'm going to have to be able to counter that Neo tank. Because it's not like I can build, like, I mean, I can build artillery and try to, like, shove them to the front lines and block them off with units. But it's like every single time I put something in the front lines, it just gets taken out, right? So, yeah, just not really going all too well. But I do use the battlecopter to hit the Neo tank. We got engagements going on up north. At this point, I end up activating Black Wave instead of saving up for Black Storm. Now, 100% you should just always save up for Black Storm. I mean, I don't know why I started popping Black Wave. It's more of a desperation move than anything. So all in all, just save up for your Black Storms. Don't worry about Black Wave unless like you're in a position where like you're gonna be able to just do like a crap ton of damage, right? That's really the only time I would say do that. Or if maybe you're fighting like Sasha, you know, and you happen to get like Black Wave before she's got her normal power, then, you know, maybe pop it because you probably will have another opportunity. But yeah, because of that, as you can see, I managed to actually go in, get the Neo tank down to 4 HP and take it out with my medium tank. And I start cleaning up some units up in the north there. So we can see, despite me making a whole bunch of like really bad moves, I'm still managing to hold out quite a bit. So like it's not going too bad. So yeah, day 24 rolls around. We got attacks on comm towers, attacks on tanks, and attacks on the infantry. And we have that fighter moving in finally. Like, oh my god, it's coming. It's coming for me. Hide your kids and hide your wife, I swear to god. Alright, so we can see that that distraction of an infantry attack or trying to capture his comm tower actually did manage to work a little bit. Maybe. Probably not. Probably should have just kept it back. But hey, you know what? We all make mistakes, right? And sometimes we make 25 mistakes in one game. Okay. Once again, those transport copters just really doing work, and this one even is funneling 2 units in one turn. So this guy right here, like he just got so much value out of that, like +2 movement for both of those units, like fantastic. Alright, so day 25, more caps happening. Uncover a artillery unit there. Move in with a 1 HP battlecopter to try to take an attack on it. I think I just wanted to see if I can do like maybe 1 damage, like luck-wise, but it didn't work, right? So medium tank moves in, take a shot at the recon unit, and I take a shot at it with this tank. Yeah. Not a bad idea, I guess. I probably maybe should have just first striked this guy right here, because this guy wouldn't have been able to attack anything anyways. But, yeah. Once again, 25 mistakes in one match. Skipping ahead once again. Alright, cool. Alright, so yeah, we can see that the line down here, it's looking a lot thinner than it did before, but that's because I mostly took a lot of my units and started sending them up north because I wanted to just... I needed to get rid of those guys, right? We can see that artillery is still denying the comm tower, though. It's like, I just cannot get it. Yeah, but you got some engagements up north, though. Focus firing on that artillery unit once he discovered it as well. And eliminating my vision with the fighter. Yeah, we can just see a lot of damage happening up there. Alright, so... got nothing to say about that one. It was just brutal. Alright, so... comm tower denied again. I get a tank moved down to 4 HP. And now he's got quite a lot of presence up north. Just devastating. Alright, so now down south I have 2 artillery, a tank, an anti-air, and another artillery up here. So the first thing I decide to do is, okay, I'm just going to pop those 2 guys with the artillery. join the cleanup squad, take out one of his battlecopters, and take out this unit here. So, alright, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so the much better play here probably would have been to use the MD tank to actually take this guy out and then move this battlecopter in to attack this one here. Yeah, that would have been the play. Because, I mean, the infantry aren't really going to do much on their own, right? So, you might as well keep them alive and take out your big threats. Alright, so I moved this recon in again to take out that infantry. I think I just wanted to get vision to see what was going on up here. So, the thing is though, if I was going to do that, what I probably should have did was just move this recon first. And then that would have made it so I got vision up here, and I could have actually taken an attack on this tank with the artillery rather than the mech that was there. Because, like, a mech is dangerous if it gets close to you, but I mean, they're very slow, right? So they can't really do too much unless they get, like, in range of you. Like, this one was in range of this artillery, but I wouldn't have been able to see it right away, right? So you would have to waste some movements actually getting in there. Yeah. Anti-air gets popped. Fighter moves in to get a shot at that battlecopter, and he fails 2 luck rolls actually on this battlecopter, so it manages to stay alive. Thank God. So now I got a little bit of vision up there. The rest of these units up here, they basically have no vision. Like, infantry's got 2 vision, right? This anti-air's got 2 vision. If I had lost this, I would have lost any chance of having any sort of vision up there. So fantastic that that stayed alive. But yeah, now we got more medium tanks rolling in. We got an APC in play to start refueling a lot of his units. And not only refueling units, but actually just more transporting, like, you know, infantry and mech units to the front line. Okay, day 27. So we're getting very, very far into the match. So I know that unit is pretty much dead either way, so I decided to try to take this unit down a little bit. Move my medium tank in. Move this guy actually back up north, because I'm planning on actually having him come in again next turn. Take a look at what's going on. So at this point too, I know that there's a fighter. So I think my plan is I don't really want to be building any air units at the moment. Yeah, and I fail a luck roll now against his tank too, right? So, you know, I probably shouldn't have laughed at that guy up there. Yeah, I probably did it. Oh well. Alright, so day 27 rolls around and we got another Ex Machina coming up pretty soon. So, unfortunately, he did discover this guy again too, right? So now this fighter is put in quite a bit of work, actually taking out a few units. So this is actually interesting that he went in for those attacks too, right? So I think his plan was he really just wanted to get that Ex Machina, right? Which ended up hitting that front line up there again. So, yeah, once again, northern front line has been crippled by Ex Machina again, so that's 2. And it's even worse too, because that was a surprise Ex Machina. Like, I didn't actually expect him to get it that turn, but he did. So, sometimes that's just the way she goes. But it's such a sneaky move, and like, I've done it so many times when actually playing in league matches or casual matches, right? You know, you just do a lot of damage, then you pop your ability like halfway through the turn or at the end of the turn or something when they're not expecting it. You can just really catch your opponent off guard like that sometimes, which is just fantastic. You see Sammys do that a lot with their victory march, actually, which is pretty fantastic. Now, if I ever do a Sammy match again, I will try to actually do that with a victory march, and I'll show you guys what I mean. But, I mean, I'm sure you've seen it one way or another. Yeah, so we got a couple attacks going on down south there, but at this moment, like, my army is basically crippled. So there's not really too much that I can do. But I decided to pop Black Wave again out of desperation. So my thought pattern with this one is I just got hit by an Ex Machina. You know, it was pretty devastating, if I might say so myself. So my thought was pop Black Wave, do some global damage, get some healing, make it so he can't, you know, possibly build what he wants to build next turn. Try to get an advantage, slow his push, so that I can reinforce. How about we see if that works or not? We can see a battlecopter already moving in, interrupting one of my caps. And I forgot to mention last turn, but he did build a bomber, so now there's a flipping scary bomber up in the air, just waiting to swoop in, take you out like a Hawke attacking a poor vole or something. Alright, so yeah, we got a little bit of combat going on down south, like a few units were taken out, but he was really being fairly conservative with a lot of his units there. He didn't want to push them up too far, because he still doesn't know what I got down here. He knows that he's basically won this front up here. So he's just playing it very safe. He doesn't want to push in too far. Now, I do notice that he was capturing that comm tower, and I didn't want him to get the comm tower, so I denied that attack. And I do see a little bit of an opening here with these units, so I decided to push in and start doing some damage to those guys. And I push in to take out a few units here, get this infantry, unfortunately, only down to 1 HP. But you can see that this artillery that I have here in this forest, it's been shooting a while, and it has done quite a bit of damage so far. So that's great. I do decide to move a second artillery up into position. Third artillery moving right here. Now, I think I do that because I see the recon? I didn't see the recon. I don't know why I moved that. I think I just felt like maybe he had something that was in here that was gonna attack me, so I just moved it over there just to be safe. Or maybe I did it because of this battle. Oh, yeah, never mind. I did it because of the battlecopter. Yeah, I saw that the battlecopter could see me, so I was like, yeet, gotta get out of there. Don't want to get shot again for like the 90th time by a flipping battlecopter. Oh, Lord. Alright, I do position my infantry down here to stop any caps that might happen as well. Alrighty, so day 29 rolls around. Oh my god, we are getting flipping far into this match already. And we can see artillery just doing lots of work, getting shots on. This mech takes out this anti-air unit right there. So, yeah, so this is going to be a very interesting couple days down here that you're going to see. Like, some very good movements actually end up happening. Alright, up north we can see a double attack going on, triple attack going on, quadruple attack going on. Just multi-kills. Yep. Lots of attacks going on. Alright, day 30. If anybody's still with me, by the way, at day 30, oh my god, thank you. You're a champ. I mean, you can go have coffee. I'll wait for you, don't worry. Alright. Anti-air, moving in, takes out the battlecopter right there. So this is mistake number 1 down here. Probably mistake like, 53 in the match. But you're gonna see why in a second, because I mean, if you guys haven't noticed, there's a bomber over there. Oh my god, there's a bomber. So I end up taking out a mech with my infantry, and I move in here and take a look at this infantry. There's a shot that just happened up north, but more importantly, do you guys see what I just uncovered here? Yes, because I see it too. I now have the bomber. And you know, the one defense I had against this bomber, you know what it did? It attacked a flipping battlecopter. So, what should have happened was, patience, Mr. Cannon, patience. Let's just sit with that, like, anti-air in the forest, wait until you have vision on as many things as you can before making your choice. Because as you can see, I made the wrong choice. So, unfortunately. Okay, but we're gonna keep going. So, I do my best to protect this anti-air because I know that this is my only line of defense right now against this flipping monstrosity in the sky. Alright. Now, my thought here was I decided to go heavy on the attacks up north because now that I did notice that there was a bomber, I just wanted to do as much damage up here. Because I was really hoping that maybe, you know, he saw that I had this anti-air. So maybe he was thinking about pushing this guy up north. Those are my hopes, at least. I do preemptively build another anti-air, though, because I'm expecting to lose this one. Because I already see the line of attack that can happen. Yeah, so I already see that line of attack that can happen, right? And yeah, just double recon attacking, and then the devastating attack happens where I lose my only line of defense against that bomber. So yeah, we can see that all four of these units actually did a big old attack down here too, which is super interesting. So he just managed to take that out. Now he's got no defenses up here also. So this is where, like, you know, having some vision would have been fantastic. So if I had known this, like, I could have, like, maybe, like, you know, captured the HQ, hopefully. But no, it didn't happen. Okay, so he's gone full throttle to defend down here. So, oh god, like, I just don't understand why I did this. So I start to realize that it's starting to look pretty lost, and I don't know what he's got here, but I know that he just pushed a bunch of units down here, and all the units down here are dead. Basically dead. So my greedy ass is like, okay, maybe I could go up there and get the comm tower, go up there and, like, sneak around back and James Bond myself a freaking HQ and then win the entire game and then go home a hero. Don't do that. Don't do that. It's just not a good idea. Just play safe. Play safe, capture the properties around you. Don't be a hero. Unless you're Sammy. Then maybe you can be a hero. Alright, so we can see some cleaning up happening. And I get that black wave again, and then I pop the black wave again, and I'm just like, why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? Just save up. And I think I do it just to make sure that I clean up everything, and then to stop this force a little bit too. And, like, yeah, just, I don't know, that's why I did it. But yeah, you can see that it, like, you know, it worked out a little bit, because it, like, every single black wave, like, it slows this push down a little bit, but, like, it's not, like, super worth it. Alright, so after that turn, we can see that I did manage to level the playing field a little bit here when it comes to, like, unit value and unit numbers. But it is still his turn, so he's going to be taking some stuff out, right? I mean, I've also been behind in the economy, like, the entire match. And, like, he goes down here and just snipes out my, like artillery unit there. Like, it's nothing. Right? Like, he's got no fears right now because of that bomber. It's just like it's giving him so much confidence down there. But he knows that he just shifted his entire force down there, so he's got to start reinforcing up here. So he does move a lot of units here. So this is what I mean about that flipping James Bond moment, right? It's like, this guy, yeah, you want to be a hero, but you could have captured this property and leveled, like, you know, the income playing field, and then you could have even moved down, like, maybe even captured this property or move up and start capturing this one. But no, you decide to, like, James Bond it. But, you know, this isn't easy mode. It doesn't work that way, 007. Yeah. Alright, so we got more guys coming in here. Alright, we got an we have an artillery unit moving down south. We got another attack going on. Then we have some more tanks moving into position up here. Alright, so this is a terrible, terrible, terrible misclick by me, and I have no idea why I did it, but I send my tank up north even though there's a mountain here, which I can't cross. I don't understand why I did it. You know, I think it was mostly just trying to move really quickly. Okay, so we can see that my James Bond up there has been discovered, so, you know, he ain't going home with any medals today, unfortunately. Lots more engagements happening to the south and a big old defensive line happening here. We can see this wonderful line of defense right here, too, by Cynical Boy. Now, I do my best to kind of push that line a little bit, do as much damage as I can to it. Now, I don't manage to get to the bomber, unfortunately. But I do push up as much as I can, and yeah, the Ex Machina is pretty close to being ready at this point, too. Kind of don't want that to, like, you know, show up, but yeah, you know, we're gonna see what happens here. I think he does do enough damage to get it, and then bomb. Ex Machina happens. That entire push is now done. So we are just gonna kind of fast forward a little bit here and just see what happens. So now my James Bond is dead. My push is dead. He's got a huge line of defense again. And there's not really too much I can do at this point. I don't know why I don't just resign at this point either. Like, I feel like I'm just trying to, you know, just hold out as much as I can, right? Nope. Alright, so we can see pushing in, taking a shot at that, taking out my tank with the Neo tank. Just lots of engagements just happening as we move in units in to start attacking. I had a brain fart there for a second. Attacking my anti-air units, right? Okay, so yeah. Just skipping ahead to the next turn here pretty much. So we can see that I'm now sitting at 24 units, 100,000 value. And yeah, it's not looking super good for me. But I'm a stubborn guy, you know? So I don't resign yet. I'm just like, you know what? I'm just gonna see. I'm just gonna see what happens. You know, at this point, it's more just like morbid curiosity. I'm just like, all right, I just want to like see how far I can push this match, and you know, I have some fun doing it, right? But I did manage to move in with a couple units here and actually do a play where I can take out the bomber, which is nice. Pop another black wave, just doing more damage. I think I'm just being annoying more than anything at this point. take out his vision up north. And yeah, things are looking okay up there. So this is what I mean too. Like if I didn't go James Bond, I would have had this city. And I would have been able to capture this city. And I might have even had like... maybe had this city? Probably not. But would have been in a much better position, right? So... this is another throwaway move by me. Like I got super greedy and I move in with the MD tanks. I figured that he's got no defense up here. But it's like, of course he's got defense up there. It's been like, what, like 2 or 3 turns? So, bad move. I do move north just to kind of scout out the HQ, see what's going on up there. Don't see anything. Finally build a transport copter, build a couple artillery units. And we can see that my MD tank just got attacked. Now he's probably wondering why I hate him so much. It's like, I don't hate you. I'm just greedy. I can see the fighter's even taking an attack on my fighter now, too. Yep, so lots of moves happening here. Okay, so my morbid curiosity has not quite ended yet on day 36, so I move a couple more units up. Do some damage down south. Start capping a property. Move my tank down south. And then, excuse me, like, for God's sake, James Bond, just stop. Just stop, James Bond. Please. I could have captured this city this turn, or this city. I don't. I try to go for the James Bond, because I'm just holding out hope that he's going full throttle down here, and he's got nothing up here, right? But it's like, I should have known better. What am I doing? Now, I do a pretty good job at sort of cleaning up the south, though. I get discovered up north, and this is when I noticed that he's got like a battlecopter here, right? So it's like, even if I manage to get up here, it's like, God, this battlecopter's probably gonna get me. So, yeah. Now we can see both of my James Bonds have just been taken out down there. And, you know, there's only 2 James Bonds left up north, so... He actually pulls his Neo tank back at this point too, which is kind of cool. So he's realizing that, you know, he's got such an advantage right now that, you know, there's not really any point to really push forward too much. So, good play by him. Now, I'm just eliminating his units in my front line to try to get rid of his vision so he can't see me. I send my tank up north to sit in this forest, and I get discovered by, you know, half his army. So, if you're trying to hide from a battlecopter, don't go right beside it. Probably the best advice I could give you at this point. Now, this is silly too, because like I knew that he just took out a bunch of my units up here, and then I just needlessly send one up there again. It's like, I think at this point I wasn't really thinking straight. You know, maybe I was tired. But we can see that, yeah, that just wasn't a good idea. I'm going to end up losing that tank this turn, I believe. No, not fully, but I mean, I did take a big shot on the tank, so... Or he took a big shot on my tank. Alright, so day 38 rolls around. So, yeah, we're getting like, super far into this match. Like I said, it was a long one, guys, so we're trying to get through it as quickly as possible here, but we can see that now I've taken a shot on his battlecopter, finished it off with my tank, so this tank, he got some revenge at least. Got a little taste of vengeance. And at this point, I'm trying to just form a line down here. I'm trying to bait him into coming up over here. That's what I'm hopefully trying to do. But yeah, we can see he's interrupted my cap on my city. taken out my anti-air unit, and now he's just moving his artillery line up north, moving his forces towards the center as well to hold that. And he built a stealth fighter this turn, which is, probably not a bad idea. I mean, if you have a match that goes on to day 38, you're just trying to pretty much think about ways how you could end this match, right? So stealth fighter is probably not that bad of a choice, although he does know that I have a fighter, so I mean, fighter could do something against it. Yeah, so we can see one engagement happen there. Yeah, so Recon's attacking, end up losing my tank, lose my infantry, and got a few more guys coming in here. Stealth fighter is moving in. I probably wouldn't have hid the stealth fighter right away. I probably would have just let him go 2 turns before stealthing them, because I mean they don't really have a lot of fuel. They're basically like subs. When they're hidden, they just eat their fuel. So, but he does have this APC here to refuel it. So maybe he's thinking it doesn't really matter too much, right? Okay, so I move my battlecopter up north, take a shot. So I move my infantry down here to get healed. Discover he's got more artillery. More. It's like, whoo! It's like it just never ends. The amount of artillery you have just never ends. I'm starting to think that he's got a factory back here that's just pumping out units in the Advanced Wars campaign, right? As long as it's not Uzium. Don't want to have any Uziums popping up on you. But yeah, once again, battlecopter that I sent up there just gets taken out, regrettably. End up losing the cap on his comm tower. His stealth fighter is now coming down south. Alright, day 41, as we can see. Huge line coming in, and an Ex Machina is coming in pretty soon. Things are just not looking very good for me. I do manage to boost one of my mechs little bit. Boost a second mech up here on this mountain. So, I don't know. Despite me being basically on the fence the entire game, it has taken him a long time to push me this far. And, at this point, if he really, pushed in and tried to go all out, I probably could still counterattack him. But now he's, fishing for the Ex Machina once again. And he does get it. So after he gets the Ex Machina, he feels pretty confident moving that stealth fighter in. Right? So not a bad move right there. And, oh yeah, so that's why he ended up moving it in. It's because he noticed that the Ex Machina hit my my fighter down south. So, as far as he knows, I don't have any counter to it, right? But I did just end up building this other fighter here. So, there is another fighter in play. It's just not quite there yet. But he's moving up. He's moving up. He's getting up there. Yeah, so we can see some of the southern engagements. I end up moving this this mech back into the APC because I want to get him closer to the front lines. Now, I don't put him up north because I know he's got infantry up here that can attack him, so I put him down south instead. Alright, so I get my power again, activate Black Wave. Super annoying. For him, not me. So, I do a leap of faith and go through the forest because I want to try to get a shot at this up here. I end up managing to get it, so that was good. So I'm boosting some infantry up here to hopefully get this. I got this property. Hopefully put some pressure up here. So, I mean, like, once again, like, I could be, like, 2,000 funds higher right now. So, the funds could be 21-21 if I just not James Bond it and got my guys killed. Alright, the anti-airs have taken hits. Yes, we can see lots of combat going on down there. He brings his stealth fighter back to get refueled. So he's not being too reckless with that guy at the moment. Alright, so this is pretty much the beginning of the end right here. So we can see this huge push that's about to happen up north. And I do a couple engagements down south, because I'm still holding the south pretty good. Cleaning up quite a bit. Take out a few artillery. Start capping one of the properties. So at this point, yeah. Probably should have brought this guy back too, but I decided to push it forward. We're gonna see what happens next here. Alright, so yeah, just a lot of safe movements, mostly just getting my guys into position, hoping that nothing bad happens. But this is Advance Wars, and when you think nothing bad is gonna happen, normally something bad happens. Okay, so moving his stealth fighter even further back too, which is super interesting. So he's not like keeping it in the front lines at all. He's like moving it back. Maybe he's got like some extra plan for it later. He ends up moving his line a little bit further here. More towards the north instead of like down here too. I think he's recognized that I have a lot of reinforcements coming this way from his previous attempt in pushing over here. So he's putting up here because he's not really expecting me to do this, right? So that's my guess at least. Alright, so I moved this mech into this APC because I'm thinking that maybe he doesn't have anything down here. And I'm going to try to cap this property. Once again, big mistake, probably should not have done it. And, you know, once again, getting hyper-aggressive up here, just trying to do the attacks. I know that he's got I know he's got artillery units, so it's just like, why are you doing it? Just stop. Just wait. But, you know, at this point, very impatient. I can't wait any longer. I'm just going to try to go in for the attack. But it doesn't work out, once again. Probably said it doesn't work out like a million times during this match so far, but yeah. It's just the way it goes. So now we got a Neo tank right in the front lines, being backed up by so many artillery. Like I think that's like what, like 4 or 5 artillery. So this is an interesting move right here. So it says it's hidden right here, but he actually unhid this stealth fighter last turn. So I think he's actually ending up using it as a bait. He wants me to attack it with my fighter because he's got this fighter up here that's actually going to be able to cover it. So even though at this point I was thinking that it's a bait, you know, I just had to go for it. I even went for this engagement against the Neo tank with my medium tank, even though I know it was a losing battle. But it's like, at that point, like, I just got to do damage to it. You know, otherwise I'm going to lose. I'm pretty sure I lost this game back on, like, day 30 or something. But, like I said, I'm stubborn and I just wanted to really play it out just to see what would happen. But I go in for some caps here. Now, I have this 5 HP artillery right here that actually could have blocked this infantry going in for this cap here. And if I did that, I would have actually gotten the comm tower, which could have possibly turn the tides in my favor. But you never know, right? So I sent my fighter up north to sit on my comm tower for one reason, because I didn't want him to get my comm tower, and two is because I thought this was a bait, right? So I thought something big was coming in here, like a bomber or something, right? So I wanted to try to defend against that. Yeah, we can just see the devastation that just happened down south too. So now even my strong side is looking pretty weak. So, you know, I got by Black Wave again, so I pop it. Just trying to do a little bit more damage. Now, I know he's got lots right here, but I'm thinking that maybe, like, you know, this is, like, it. So I just try to do as much damage to it because he's very far from a reinforcement line. So, you know, I might be able to do something. So this is where I move all my units in to reinforce this guy capturing the comm tower, because it's like, you know, last attempt, I might as well try to capture it. But Cynical Boy, you know, he's no fool. He's got lots of units in position already, so he does manage to stop the cap a little bit here. I'm pretty sure, like, I got 2 left, right? I think he managed to take me down to, like, 1 HP. Yeah, right there, just 1 HP. Even got the Stealth Fighter moving in. But now the Stealth Fighter is in range of my anti-air unit too, which is nice because I managed to take it out, I believe, next turn. But we can see all that combat that just happened up north there. That front is officially pretty much 100% lost. There's not really any coming back from that. Alright, so day 47. I do see the artillery unit, so I take a shot at it. Take out the Stealth Fighter. Take out the anti-air unit, actually. And I start moving my fighter down here. But I notice it starts running out of fuel, so now I've got quite a little bit of a dilemma, right? Because I got this APC blocking this tank right now, but at the moment, like, I don't really want to move it. Because if I move it, well, it's not really going to work out too well for me, right? Because then the tank's going to move in and attack my artillery unit, which is not good. Good. Oops. So, I mean, I could move it, like, here. And it would block it, but then he would just escape, right? So, not a great move. I mean, this entire game has pretty much not been a great move by me. But I did have a lot of fun playing this match, so. And we can see Ex Machina comes in. I was hoping it was going to hit down here or somewhere, but it hit the front line up there again. And we can just see, like he doesn't even need to attack those guys. Alright, so day 48. The only thing I can do is pretty much just move my units into position here. And we're going to see the last turn here. So, double attack, join cap, taking out the battlecopter, taking out the tank. Everything just moving into position. Interrupting caps. Battlecopter's moving into position. We got freaking rockets down there. We got tanks moving in. We have just lots of stuff. And, like, even until the very end, like, he's still playing as if the game is not going to be ending anytime soon. Like, he's still got transport copters, he's still got recons coming in. But at this point, like, I take a look at my value, and I finally drop below, like, 100,000, and I'm at, like, 26 units. So I just take a couple attacks. And then, you know, I hit the resign button. So a 49-day battle in League. So that's something that just never happens, right? Probably should have just resigned around like day 30. Like I said, one more time, just a glutton for punishment. So, yeah, overextending, getting fixated on the comp towers, misclicking, and that's pretty much about it. Yeah. So as you can see, that's what happens when you overextend and make a lot of little mistakes in the match. Because I think more than likely, probably could have actually won the match if I just played a little bit smart. But every single time you play, you correct some little mistakes that you make, and you get a little bit better every single time. So I learned a lot from this match, especially how Von Bolt plays, and a lot of interesting stuff about the late game. So hopefully you all enjoyed. I definitely enjoyed it. My voice is a little bit shaky after talking for this long, so I'm gonna get out of here. This has been Mr. Cannon. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.